Welcome back to Building Wisconsin. We're following the construction of the Moderne, a new 30-story apartment and condominium complex that's part of Milwaukee's downtown revitalization. Now let's catch up with the developer for the project, Rick Barrett, from Barrett Visionary Development.
Stu, I'd like to point something out to you. We've got a rounded corner that carries from the ground floor all the way up to the 31st floor. And what that is, it's an art moderne glass. It's our signature glass. That's truly rounded glass that they actually heat up and they round it. Now, for every 3 that they try to produce, they break 2. So it's very costly. And from that perspective, it's such an important part of our building because it kind of ties back in a modern way. It ties back to the art moderne style of the 20s and 30s of the classic Americana.
And when we talk about downtown revitalization, you want the building to fit in, and oftentimes people, that's probably one of the questions they ask, what's it going to look like? Is it going to be stark? Are you taking history into the design? And it seems like you're taking all those elements and want it to fit into downtown.
There were 4 different architectural vernaculars that were brought over from Europe. There was the arts and crafts movement, which is more Frank Lloyd Wright. There was the Bauhaus movement, which is more boxy, very rectilinear. There was Art Deco. And then the one that's probably the least utilized is the art moderne style, which was more curvilinear and more industrial and an ocean liner type of look. And, I've always had a love for the art moderne style.
Well, let's touch on how this whole project came together and what you like to call the deal.
It all started with the very difficult financial environment, and the capital markets had frozen around the world. And that happened in 2008. And we had to go back to the drawing board, so to speak, Stu. We were in a situation where we needed to include the public into the package in order to acquire capital to get this building up and running. So to me, it's a perfect blending of private and public funding. And I'm proud to say that the federal government, HUD, is involved, the city of Milwaukee. The trades have become a major part of this project. AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust financed this project. So from that perspective, it was a complicated deal. You've got a city government, you've got a federal government, you've got the unions, but that's what the financial markets kind of dealt us.
So even the development of it was cutting edge. Are you happy with how it's gone so far?
I've been overjoyed. The quality of the project is world class. The example that this will set for the city of Milwaukee sets a new bar, in my mind, as a standard. We have fantastic architecture around the city, and I feel that this building melds right into some of the other great architecture that the city of Milwaukee has. So we're just happy to be part of what we feel will be a revitalization of downtown Milwaukee.
And when you look at a structure like this, it makes sense to be public and private. Yeah, it's residential housing, but it's right in a public place. It's right downtown. And so people should have a say in it, but they should also help fund it, because this is a great place to be investing our money, because it helps our community as a whole.
It certainly does. It brings, you've got 217 units in this building, and it brings a critical mass to an area that has been somewhat downtrodden, and the Park East in and of itself has been unbuilt for 10 years while the freeway was knocked down. So from that perspective, this critical mass of people living in this particular location is very important to the city. It's very important to the retailers. It's very important to the restaurants. And at the end of the day, development is all about the office, the retail, the restaurants, the multifamily, the condominiums. They all work together to make a vibrant city. And that's what we're trying to do here.
Sure, and what you touched on just briefly was that the trades actually helped fund this. So it's not just the jobs and getting guys to work.
Right.
They're actually reaching into their hourly wage, helping finance this. I think that's just wonderful. They can really take a sense of pride with them.
Absolutely. It's one thing to be here to work, but there's also something to be said for a group that's willing to put their skin in the game. And they did that. And they deserve the accolades and the pride that they must feel, along with myself, as part of this team is tremendous.
Well, from the outside, it's looking just fantastic. I'm anxious to see some of the views from up top, so can we head inside?
Absolutely. Let's go do it, Stu.
Building Wisconsin is made possible by the members of Plumbers 75, proudly serving their contractors and helping build Wisconsin for over 100 years.
We all know the most basic form of life requires clean water to survive. On Earth, we need it to drink, cook, clean, and it touches just about every part of our quality of life. Here in Wisconsin, we appreciate the value of clean water even more as we live alongside the Great Lakes. Yet we often forget to think about how water gets to our homes, schools, and businesses, and then safely back to Mother Nature. Where does all the dirty water go? How is it fresh and clean every time we get a glass of water? Who makes this happen? The answer: plumbers. It's the plumbers who are trained, mentored on the job, and have progressed through a 5-year education program that takes them from apprenticeship to a master of their trade. It's plumbers who are committed to a career and have been trained to protect the health and safety of our water system and make sure you never have to think about where it comes from and where it's going. Yes, we're fortunate here in Wisconsin to have an abundant supply of clean, fresh water, but even more fortunate to have a highly trained and committed workforce to keep and deliver it that way.
Plumbers 75, supporting the plumbing trade in southeast Wisconsin for over 100 years. In 1975, Alpine Plumbing began as a two-man shop in Brookfield, Wisconsin. Since that time, Alpine has grown into a full-service plumbing company with over 90 employees. Their project managers and highly skilled plumbers are experienced in the construction, remodel, and repair of residential, commercial, retail, industrial, and institutional structures. You've probably seen their work at such places as the Moderne, Milwaukee School of Engineering, one at the North End, and residential homes throughout southeast Wisconsin. Alpine Plumbing and Plumbers 75, proud to be building Wisconsin. For more information on Building Wisconsin, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and be sure to watch additional episodes on YouTube or at our website, buildingwisconsinTV.com.